We're here in Tulsa at a gem of a public garden known as the Linnaeus Garden. And here to tell us a little bit about it is the Director of Horticulture, Mr. Barry Fugit. Hey Barry, welcome back to the show.
I am so glad to get you back in this garden. Good to have you.
It's good to be here, and it looks awesome, I must say. I've been here a few times. Every time I come out, it looks great. But the garden here, Barry, when did it get its start? And just tell us a little bit about what goes on here at the Linnaeus Garden.
Well, it's just our baby. It's a jewel, and it started 9 years ago. And it is the paradigm here is a well-trained volunteers, and we have close to 300 now. We train each fall, and then we have industry from coast to coast, and you have been a blessing to us as well with plant materials. So everything you walk up and see, everything you stand on at the Linnaeus Garden is a donation from somebody, which is amazing, and all the labor is volunteer labor, and they've been able to keep it just looking like a little paradise here. But we're 9 years old, celebrated our 9th anniversary in June, and big things are continuing to happen.
Still going strong and expanding a little bit. And the name Linnaeus, where does that come from?
He is, well, we like to call him the father of botany, but he was an incredible guy. For viewers, just Google the name Carl Linnaeus and you'll get up thousands and thousands of possible hits. And we just felt like in America they didn't know enough about him. He was a Swedish guy, born in the 1700s, but we named plants by his system, the binomial nomenclature, genus, species, and what have you. So he was a minister, he was a doctor, he was an environmentalist, he was a botanist, he was so many things. And it's said of him or written about him that he never met a student that he didn't take under his arm and share with him about horticulture and gardening. So we thought it was a perfect name for the garden.
Sounds like a wonderful person. And you even had a statue back here in his honor and likeness? 1,000-pound
bronze of Carl Linnaeus standing back here in his finery of the 1700s. We try to get him pictured in his 50s when he was at the height of his notoriety in Europe.
Sure.
And a local artisan did the sculpture itself, and you can see some tiles behind him of native plants for Oklahoma, and there he is just greeting you as you come up the walk. He's a lecturer, so he's got his notebook in one hand and he's holding Gaillardia, the state wildflower, in the other. So
doing his thing.
Doing his thing, absolutely.
Okay, well this walkway certainly is impressive. This is part of Woodward Park.
It is.
And of course I used to work here years ago as a gardener for the city park department. And
so you really remember when you saw this when it was nothing like this, right?
Yeah, you guys have really planted it and improved it, and it looks incredible. Just looking at some of the plants along the walk here, we got this lovely white myrtle. Can you tell us which one that is?
This is a United States Department of Agriculture release back in the early 90s, I think it is, but it's called Acoma, named after an Indian tribe. So there's a whole series of crepe myrtles that were named after American Indian tribes.
Okay, I used to say Acoma, but Acoma. Sounds a little better.
I used to say Acoma too until a Native American came up to me and said the correct pronunciation is Acoma.
All right.
Indeed.
Good to learn something. Exactly. And these really old eastern red cedars here have so much character, and I know you guys like limbed those up, pruned them, cleaned them up. But what do you do if one of them dies?
What we do is what you're looking at right there. One of them did die, and our volunteers are such I like to call them the Horticulture Marine Corps. They just take ownership of every plant out here. So when this tree died, they came to me and said, if we could raise the money, could we have the chainsaw sculptor come along, Mr. Cause, and do a tree of discovery? And so absolutely. So they raised all the money to have that done. And now children love walking around that, and we just asked them to identify all the little critters that are staring at them out from the tree, including our state bird up there, the scissortail.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And the weeping tree back here on the left?
That's a weeping purple redbud, and just a fantastic. We're going to allow that plant to just continue to grow. It'll never get any taller. It's a grafted plant, but the branches are all pendulous and weeping, and I have seen these to where they literally trailed over walls and what have you.
Wow.
And that's what's beginning to happen. You can see there several of the branches are going out over the ground there to make a waterfall effect for, of all things, a redbud.
Very nice accent plant.
Yes,
well,
it is.
Let's take a look at some of the other areas of the Linnaeus Garden. Barry, another thing I really like about the Linnaeus Garden is the plant trials that you guys do out here. And looks like you got a really good heat-tolerant selection of periwinkles here.
We have. Last year we dedicated this little section of the garden to lantana varieties, and the public seemed to enjoy that. This year it's vinca or periwinkle, and there's so many varieties and the breeding work going on to improve them, to dwarf them, to make them bigger and even more floriferous than they've probably ever been.
And so disease resistance.
Disease resistance is being worked into it. So we're kind of, and the public has really embraced these, and so hopefully we get people excited about great plants, and then they go to retail nurseries and to guys like yourself and buy them. We don't compete or in any way with the nursery industry. We just ask them to donate so that we can show the public of what, you know, some neat things that we can grow here in Oklahoma.
Sure.
But boy, there's some hot new varieties indeed for vinca today.
They've come a long way. I mean,
They
just
have.
from the 20 years ago or so, just the varieties that were available and the size of the flowers, and this is a really unique one right here.
That is. I'm going to be using that next year in some hanging, but my wife fell in love with that. Just the colors, you know, it just really spoke to her. But I kind of like some of these dwarf varieties that are very thick and compact and for ground cover purposes, and obviously for trailing and urn, they would be great for that as well. But some neat new stuff indeed.
Well, Barry, I think it is amazing the amount of support you guys get for this garden.
Well, it is, Steve, and in fact, there was no way to do this Linnaeus teaching garden without the public getting involved, and obviously a lot of volunteers. But industry, this is as much an industry garden as it is anything, because every plant, again, you see at Linnaeus, some industry personnel or nursery around the country is donating it for us to show and tell, and to build hopefully to build a demand for it. But we're just looking for great plants. And then we've got great gardeners who like to grow them. But yeah, we're standing on the cool spot, temperature-wise.
It does feel nice here.
It does, underneath these conifers. But it gives you kind of a view of the garden and how it's sectioned into room effect. Linnaeus is quintessentially a classroom. It's a display garden. So it's an opportunity for us to do the displaying for guys like you in industry across the country. And when you arrange it like this, it can be pretty attractive as well.
You guys do have some amazing plants here, and the hardscape, just all this other garden area is just, it is incredible. And the gardens as they stand now have pretty much occupied the same footprint for the last 9 years, but you guys are getting ready to do a little bit of expansion. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, some exciting things are happening. We had a donor step up, and we are in the last stages of building a new classroom for Linnaeus so that we'll be able to do small group training of 50 to 60, 75 people at a time. And our new class 13 that's about to be selected to become a Linnaeus garden, we'll be training them in our new classroom. So we're so excited about that. And then I think you saw as you came in this terrace garden up there that a good deal of donor money has been spent on again. We're so excited because it's going to become an all-American selection display garden directly across the street from Linnaeus. So yeah, great things are happening.
Okay, and that area was actually part of the Rose Garden Terrace that has been here at Woodward Park since the 1930s.
Absolutely.
Or so.
For Tulsa, it has historic interest. It goes back to the Roosevelt era in 1932-33 when the Great Depression was going on, and President Roosevelt put millions of men to work in this country, and that garden was built at that time with those funds. So we're taking the top terrace and totally reworking it and bringing it, modernizing it, and then again going to turn it into not only something beautiful, but a teaching opportunity as well.
Okay, I can't wait to see that. Those roses surrounded by those all-American selection plants and some of those other things.
It should be special.
Yeah. Well, Barry, it's always a pleasure to come and see the Linnaeus garden. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Come back often.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.